new bench. Oh, blow nose. Oh, captured.
Good.
This will go viral now, or your flu will.
Yep.
Park bench. Getting there. Bit more sanding to do. Some putty to fix cracks and nooks and crannies. Solar lights. Actually putting off a fair bit of light.
Yeah.
It's dark here, but it puts us in a fairly good light. Hello, hammers. Here, Beardo. Should I shave it off, mate? Is it time for the big shave? What do you think?
No. I don't care what you do.
But you said no.
Doesn't
Maybe if
matter.
I shave it off neatly, we can stick it straight onto you.
What? I wasn't really listening.
So you can see by over there, it's just enough light. Hammers, the this section that's been texture coated. And we've got to come back to this section, which is going to get done the same as that. The guy doing it had to fly, unfortunately, to the UK because his mum passed. He's back in about another couple of weeks, and he'll finish it off. Should have something happening tomorrow. Got the plumber coming, I think. All the fitments. Did we get them out or not?
No, we haven't yet.
No. Okay, we'll do that in the morning. But this is our new park bench. Well, old park bench. I'm guessing Hammers is pretty clever. See the little motives on their hammers. And all the fittings, if I can show you here, they're all dowel. I've put a few screws in to help them, but most of it was dowel. It's all Kennison joints, and I think it's probably 50s, maybe earlier, because the guy we bought it off has a very unusual business. He flies to the UK. He's in Perth, Western Australia. There's 4 people, he told me, that do this, and they go to auction houses and house clearances. So he lives in the UK for about 3 or 4 months of the year, fills up containers, and then brings it back to Australia and sells it. So this came from the UK. Like, just by the woodwork in the actual piece and how the joints are done, I'm guessing 40s, 50s. And it was pretty daggy. Actually, I'll show you the back. I'll just turn this camera around, make it easier for me. There we go. So we've sanded a fair bit of the front and put a bit of putty where it needs to go to sand off. So that's pretty good, but round the back, still got work to do. You'll see, well, maybe you won't see because of the light. Pretty daggy. Anyway, got a fair bit more work to do. And there was a fair big crack through here. I'll put some putty in there. And I'll sand all that back. I might have to do a little bit more work to it. But we'll see. Tomorrow we'll bring in the details. But I've seen something similar when I was a kid. That little motif there. And how it's done. But it's comfortable, it's a good, well, you see there's a big space between me and the missus. Must be a good 6 and a bit feet long. Hammer says, sweet grandpa chair. Cheeky bugger. I think my beard is about a year old now, roughly, isn't it? About that. Yeah, about a year old. I've had a longer. I do trim it every now and then, but no, we've got actually got another one over there. You might not be able to see it. Got another park bench over there we picked up. and restored that one. That's probably 40s definitely. That's from Australia. Solid though. And that is oak. This one is teak. I love teak because it's real hard, usually fairly straight grain, and it just feels good. It's got a good feel about teak. As most people know, teak's used in building boats and yachts. Usually the fittings and fixtures, not the actual boat. Well, I'm pretty sure there's teak boats out there. Hello, Mel. But someone put a whole heap of old, well, not old, nasty varnish on it. I've never varnished teak before. I've always oiled it. So this is what will be happening to this one. It's proper teak oil you put on it. So this is our park bench. Mel, I'll show you. With petal sitting in it. It's a beauty. Got a bit more work to do, sanding and filling, and I fixed up a few of the structural problems. And it did come from the UK. The guy that we bought it off actually goes to the UK, Mel, and buys furniture and knickknacks and paddywhacks, puts it in a container and brings it to Australia. You won't get to see this next one. This is just a park bench also, but it's probably too dark to show you a damn thing. But I've restored that as well. That's oak, the one I just showed you. This is teak. You never know, Mel, your bum will be sitting on that one day, having a glass of Moe, M-O-E-T of course.
You better drive careful, Mel.
Where's Mel going?
Pick up a hubby.
Alright, hope he's feeling better. I should be doing heaps of timber. This actual bench is made out of teak.
Oh, it's a shipwright.
He's the one that goes on board and sells stuff. It's a very old trade, being a shipwright. Normally they check goods that are coming in, make sure the tax is paid on them.
I'm cold.
Cold?
Yes.
This is Australia. And this is the first night, Mel, we haven't smelt smoke. Might have a smoke-free night if we're lucky. Oh, there's... Yeah, so like I say, this bench was full of old varnish. Don't know why people varnished teak. It just doesn't work. You can do, but it's a special varnish you use. He hates fiberglassing. Well, good job. Pays well, being a shipwright. Yes. I think I've already showed you the stairs that are going there. We'll finish them off first. And I've got to wait till they finish doing what they're doing around here, and then I can get a level, set my stairs in, and it'll look half normal. But in the next month we've got a fair bit happening. We've got another 10 days the solar goes on up there. There's our solar lights, but solar panels are going on. They watched you climb into the house. Mel thought it was funny.
My ass.
No, just having to climb to get in.
Oh, well.
Because they're only makeshift steps, builder steps. The plan for the extension we thought about around about January, about this time last year, didn't we? Roughly.
Yep.
Designed what we wanted, then redesigned, and then settled on what we ended up with, which we're happy with. There's lots of knickknacks to do yet. Got to redo the old windows we've got, but I've got to wait until they're finished because I want to have my time to do it instead of working around other trades. I trim my stash all the time. If I didn't trim my moustache, what would happen is I'd have this great big hairs going down to about here. And we're talking like that, like a muppet. I've always got to trim that. You will be listens. Right.
She's going to pick a hubby up.
Right, she's off to get fuel. Drive carefully and don't buy any pies from the 7-Eleven. Seriously. They've been there for a month.
You just had a bad experience and that wasn't the 7-Eleven.
No, I'm saying 7-Eleven pies. You never know how long the food's been in there. All right, Mel, have a good one. We're not going to be on long anyway. It's hot time. So, do you grow a beard, Hammers? Or is it too cold? Just gets frozen and falls off. Airport. Oh, you could pop in for a cuppa. Seriously. We're only about 7 or 8 minutes away from the airport. Can I have a... I'll just have the thing.
Yep, pop in for a cuppa, Mel.
Hey, do you want a cuppa? Come sit in our kitchen that doesn't exist. Or maybe sit on a park bench. We've got beers, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've got beer, scotch.
Minus 30, she's driving. She's not going to drink.
Minus 32 tonight. So
oh my God, Hammond. I'm cold now.
Thing about minus 32, if it blows as well, gets to minus 50 pretty quickly. You're still crook. Jeez, that's no good. Oh well, we'll catch up sooner or later. You probably want steps to walk into the house instead of climbing up.
She'd probably climb up them a bit more gracefully than I do.
Yeah, that's the only thing I remember as a kid, living in the UK and Scotland. It can be cold and you're rugged up, and you actually, if you're walking in the cold and you're rugged up, you sweat. But if there's wind and if there's sleet, man, that's the punishment. Yeah, I wouldn't go out at all. Mel says, no, I love living a bit rough. Yeah. You make do, don't you, Mel? You know, you can have all the la-di-das or you can have bugger all, but you can make do. It's not that hard to turn a sow's ears into a silk purse. It's still a sow's ear. Depends how you craft it. Precious, these little clip-on gutter lights, eh? That's the only light we've got out here, and it's dark, as you can see elsewhere. But those two little lights. And I've been up about 3 in the morning, and it'd still be on, but they start to fade. So in the middle of summer, they come on about 7:30 at night when the sun goes down, and they'll last for a good 7-8 hours. During winter, I expect they'll be out by midnight in the darkest of winter, which will still get 11 hours of sunlight. Oh, she's off to investigate noises. She's patrolling. She's not as tall as the fence, so she has to poke her head through one of the cracks. Anyone there?
Yeah.
Bring out the 50 caliber. I don't know if they can even see. I'm just pointing the camera in your direction.
I have no idea. Probably can't see me. Probably too dark.
Hello, Buttercup. We're outside sitting on a part refurbished teak. This came from the UK. The guy that we bought it off, Buttercup, actually goes to the UK for 3 or 4 months. Buys a whole heap of furniture. This is an old teak park bench. And that was looking much better than when we got it. There was all sorts of crappy varnish on it, but we're restoring that, so looks like, you can see a few of the little, that's the sort of motives in the back of the chair. Oops, maybe that's better. But it's come up pretty good. We've sanded it with 80 grit, and I'll be sanding it with, I've got some 240 actually, which is very fine. Oh, you watched, yeah. Yeah, no, probably, we're only working a couple of hours after the sun goes down, because it's still, what was it, 30, 36 today here? Still about 100, a bit too hot to be out in the sun. But probably by tomorrow, a couple more hours, we'll get the rest of it sanded. And then I'll sand off all the putty bits I've done. And probably the next day I shall oil it. So by...
Yep. Put a brass plaque on there, eh?
What?
Buttercup said put a brass plaque.
Oh, we could do a YouTube brass plaque application with people's names engraved on little brass plaques.
Oh, it depends whose name. You meant all over our bench.
Well, no, just in areas where you're not going to be up against it, I suppose. What we could do is people that visit from YouTube, stay for a beer or maybe a swim or overnight, whatever, maybe we'll get a little plaque and do what you just said. Here sat Buttercup. Of course, there'd only be a very small portion of the seat that you'll be using because you're just a wee little lass. There's the princess teasing her hair.
I'm cold.
We saw our granddaughter today. Emma's wants a brass plaque.
Okay.
Oh, when you come here, mate, I'll whack it on for you. She's a very... Did you get some photos? Did you send Buttercup one?
Yeah, I did, didn't I, Buttercup? Yeah, I'm sure I did.
Took a few photos today. And the mum is tired, so I took some packaged meals round for her, which she ate one straight away, didn't you?
Yeah.
Good. Beautiful night though. Clear sky. Can you see that? I don't know if you can. Probably not. Probably a bit hard to see.
No, all we got was light.
Oh, did you? Yep, Buttercup's here. She got a pick. Minus 32 where Hammers is. Well, there's probably a glass of whiskey going down, I reckon. Just sipping on it, keep you warm. Buttercup said she needs to hug a baby. Well, you probably need to talk to your daughter. Maybe she can help you out there. Bit of easterly kicking in. We've got 100 all week just about. Again. But this is normal for this time of year. Starts to heat up second week of January through to about the end of February. That's our hottest time. Sing me song for driving. Alright, what song do you want me to sing, Mel?
I wish you'd remember to put that thing at the door.
Hmm?
You never put that bag at the door, just sitting there.
Who came out last? Me or you?
You came out first.
Here we go. If we get the door blow shut, we're stuck out here. Do you know the code to the number of the key to get in?
No.
That'll be fun.
Sing me song for driving. Okay.
I'll send you an email.
Baba, black sheep, have you any wool? No.
Could do a makeshift change of Nat King Cole's song regarding YouTube. You heard him, Mel? Unremarkable, not you, of course, in every way. What else can I change the words to?
When you're in love with a beautiful woman. Because you got two
I'm a
beautiful women in
wanker
the...
living in a van. My mother I live with is really a man, unremarkable in every way. Sorry, that's pretty bad. What I will get, Mel, because my daughter-in-law absolutely loves karaoke. She's the worst singer in the world, isn't she?
Yeah, but she loves it.
She just goes ape, like, you know, when you say, okay, we'll give someone a go, she says, no, I'm not finished. And belts out another one. I've always said to her, if you just got a couple of cats and tied their tails together and pulled, it'd sound the same. So we will have, when you come round, Mel, karaoke. Get the mood right, the lights going. Dum, 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 dum. Yes, Hammers, absolutely. There be Mel. When the night is come. Yep. I wonder if we get the mic off Mel. Imagine having Jess and Mel here at the same time.
Mel might
It'd be
like,
war.
Mel might like karaoke.
Ah, she's a karaoke
Don't
girl.
talk that Mel has to answer. She's listening. She's driving.
Oh, that's right.
She'll get into trouble.
You're listening to Horror Radio. If you're driving to the airport, please pay attention to the road. Tonight's story is about a lady driving in a car,
Don't make it scary. She's driving.
and she felt a tickle in the back of one of her calves, and she thought it might have just been a fly. But it wasn't a fly. All of a sudden, the car was filled with 1 foot wide spiders. Just kidding. My mum's got a dick, tra-la-la-la-la.
Stop
My
it.
mum's got a dick,
Stop it.
tra-la-la-la-la-la. Tell you what he has got, Hammers. You're very perceptive as well. I had a quick look at the last 2 minutes of a hangout he did. He was waffling on about the news or something. And he was sitting there, and he shows, without doubt, the early onset of dementia. He was sitting there with his... Seriously, it's so obvious. He repeats himself. He has these head tremors. And you don't need to believe me. You just need to have a Google and see what some of the symptoms are of the early onset of dementia. He has them.
Do tell, Buttercup.
BMAC got in trouble. Well, I don't think Rosie's the best cook in the world. She tends to bake cakes and shit.
It's not that
Normally.
she's not the best cook. It's just she cooks different. Everybody cooks different.
If I'm going to invite Buttercup over for a nice stew, when the meat hits your mouth, it will melt. The delicious sweetness of the carrots will come through. Yeah, you won't have to chew. Yeah, it does. The wife used to work in a nursing home, and dementia is not only for the elderly,
No.
but it's predominantly for the elderly.
No, we had a few young ones in
But
there.
the research that one guy I looked at about 2 years ago indicated middle-aged men in particular that are morbidly obese can actually speed up the process of dementia. And some people say, what's the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia? Well, there is a difference. But the head tremors of dementia, or Parkinson's, I'm not saying he's got Parkinson's, but he's got all the signs. If anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, it was a couple of days ago, he was talking about, I watched the last 2 minutes of a hangout, he's just rambling about the news, and he just repeats himself over and over and over and over, but his head nodding and tremor, which is, it's involuntary.
Yeah, I know Rosie watches everything.
One of your chats, VMAX, said Rosie's cooking was horrendous. As she made a retort. Okay. My cooking's just my cooking. There is no bad way to cook, but like I say, you can make good food out of average food.
Things like boiling a steak or stuff like that, well, yeah, right. But general cooking.
Well, my experience, but the wife's got more experience, is that with Alzheimer's, it's a slow slip. And there's memory loss, obviously. But with dementia, for some reason, they become violent in many ways, don't they?
Yes.
It's like the dementia, there's anxiety, there's fear.
They get very strong.
But with Alzheimer's, you do just slip away, and you're gone before you go with Alzheimer's. You tend to not know anyone. I watched a video recently of a lady who was blind, nearly deaf, and she had a bit of Alzheimer's, but she didn't want to be alive anymore. And you can understand why people don't want to be here when it's like that. Most people can cook,
Yes.
but some people shouldn't cook
I
because
agree.
they've got no idea. Well, you probably will be going. You'll be wondering no more. Where's Mum? I don't know. I'll find this damn blue sheep soon, says Buttercup. I will look until I die. And the blue sheep stood on the mountain, looked down at Buttercup and said, what the fuck are you doing? I agree. But if you prepare yourself well enough, the burden won't be theirs. But again, we were very privileged to look after my wife's mother for the period that she was there. So we cared for her. But I understand what you're saying, don't get me wrong. I mean, I remember listening to a comedy duo once, and they said, if everybody died in their sleep, people would be happier. And I'm thinking, yeah, I suppose, but then would you not go to sleep thinking you're going to die? And no, I wouldn't. I mean, if I go to sleep and I die, that's good. But that's not how the world works. Very few people just die in their sleep. Yeah, like Hammers was saying though, watching someone fade away, and when you talk to them, you don't get an intelligible response. It's like they forget, and they sometimes will say to Hammers, and I'm sure it happened to him, who are you? The memory goes. But strangely enough, one of the things that even people with dementia and Alzheimer's can remember is from like 60 years ago. You mentioned something about something that happened 60 years ago. Oh yeah, I was there, blah, 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 blah. And then they'll turn around and say, who are you? Short-term memory just gets destroyed. I don't know if many people on the bottom of YouTube actually cook. I'm trying to think of who does.
I'm sure
Can't think of many.
Cooks.
I just don't see any. I'm sure these guys know more than I would because I don't go that many places. And some of the things, I did it years ago. I did basic cooking. How to make things like spaghetti bolognese. How to just do stuff that's easy, but they don't know. Like if you give kids who basically just buy all their food all the time, instructions, they still won't be able to follow it. But if you stand with them, and you know, there's a TV, what do you think, Buttercup and Hammers? There's a TV show in the making for absolutely people who cannot cook at all, have no idea how to cook, but next to them stands a chef. Well, the chef, he doesn't cook, but he tells you what to do, because by doing you learn.
There are shows like that.
No, I mean specifically hopeless people who never cook anything.
Yes, there is.
What's the show's called?
They're on normal TV. I've seen them. I can't remember
Where the
names.
chef doesn't touch anything?
Yes, that's right.
Apparently there is a show, but I don't watch enough television. Yeah, Actually, one of the things with dementia is that generally the people closest to them, they're aggressive with. Yeah, I mean, even if someone made a magnificent meal, all I would ask for is some of the ingredients I think that are in there. And they might say, yes, there's garlic, yes, there's a bit of sumac, or there's something. And I'll be going, right, because I actually get it just by tasting and eating the food. So it doesn't have to be written down for me. I have never followed a recipe. I started cooking when I was very young. But you only learn by doing. Like I say, if you give someone a recipe book who can't cook, the fundamentals of cooking are important. Like how high to set the heat, how long to cook for, preparation. Most of the foods I cook, it's the preparation that takes the longest time. In the cooking, I either walk away and let it cook for 2 or 3 hours, or I cook it quite quickly in a few minutes. But like I say, the basics, a lot of kids, I'm talking up to 30-year-olds, they just go and whack the microwave on, TV dinner, boom, done. Eat junk food, breads, because they don't cook. And I think most of the time is that they can't be bothered. Not that they couldn't cook, they just go, nah, I'll play the computer. I'll put you down there for a sec. Is that going to work?
Not really.
Sort of. There you go. Sort of a look, see? That way my hands can be free instead of holding the damn camera. I think that's the moon coming out, is it? Or is that a light? It might be a light.
Where?
Let's grab that for a sec. Cool. I don't know about you guys, but I go through phases. I will eat something to death.
Yes, I do.
Not for months.
Yeah, I do that. Seeds doesn't, but
Well,
yeah.
No, we have a wide variety of foods.
Yeah, but I can eat leftovers for 5 days without a problem. After the second, pushing the third, then seed says nah.
No, what I do is, like and I deliberately cook a lot of veggies. If we have, say, a butte stew or soup, I'll have it 2 nights in a row, then I'll put it in containers that's enough for 2 of us in the freezer. I've got one in there now. I've got a stew from about a month ago. So it's not as if I don't like eating the same thing. When I was a kid, I did it all the time. We had a broth or something going on the stove all week. Bits of cabbage and turnip and carrot were added, whatever it was to fill it up. Bit of barley, bit more stock. I'm used to that. The camera's good down there, but I can't read the writing. That's the thing. We refer to 30-year-olds as kids. Yeah. I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's how I look at it. They're not as well, I suppose the word's matured. They don't mature because they stay at home till about 30, and some don't leave. That was a good idea putting it down there, but I can't read what you buggers are saying. I had a great steak pie on New Year's. I love pies. I love making my own pies. And pasties, Cornish pasties, sausage rolls. But you can't eat too many of them, can you?
Yes, you can.
Well, she can. She had a sausage roll today.
I shared it with you.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things, Hammers, is that not only do we refer to 30-year-olds as kids, they think of themselves as kids. Like, Mum, can you do me ironing? Mum, can you pick some food up for me? It's like they're still kids. I'll tell you what we like to do with our leftover veggies. We've got carrots, broccoli or cauliflower, or you name it, a whole heap of veggies. They're cooked. I just get a simple, like I'll cut potatoes up a little bit and then I'll make it even size. Then I'll add cream, pepper, bit of cheese on top. You've got a vegetable bake. You know, within half an hour, your leftovers are a spectacular meal. The one thing I notice, and I could be wrong, but the last generation, so I'm talking like 20 to 35-year-olds, if you like, are lazy. They would prefer to get someone come mow their lawn, clean their house, in preference for them doing it. They don't fix anything. You'll never find this age group with a toolbox.
Oh, you know, there's the ones that have got trades. Like a lot of the ones that come here.
Oh, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If we said our kids, what sort of tools do they have? You'd say, no.
Terry do.
That we're always borrowing my tools.
No, Mark bought his own after borrowing yours. They both do stuff.
Where was I at the age of 18? Travelling around Australia. I left home when I was, my parents left home. And at the age of 13, I hitchhiked away around Australia the first time. And the second time, I drove around as a 17-year-old. I would eat off the land. I would catch fish. Always had salt, pepper, flour, breadcrumbs, eggs. And I'd eat like a king. The odd lemon if I could find it. I never thought, now people will listen to what I say I used to do and say, oh man, you must have been like doing it really hard. I never even thought it was hard. I thought it was great. I would work for a few weeks in a town, save up a couple of $100. In those days in the 70s, it was an incredible lot of money. And then I could travel, fish, relax.
And in between work. And then what were you doing at 30? I was working at 18 and at 30. Different jobs.
That's the one thing, Buttercup, that society lacks, is knowledge. I'm pretty sure if me and Hammers were walking home from the pub in minus 32 and it got disastrously bad, we'd survive. We'd find a way to hunker down somewhere, lay some spruce on the floor, whatever we had to do to be alive. Without any knowledge, you have no power, you have no resilience or resources. You hitchhiked to Vancouver. See, hitchhiking was just a common thing here. It was normal.
Yeah, it was, but not nowadays.
Like when you'd hitchhike, there was an old couple. I was only like, I think 14, but I was a big bugger. And the guy said, can you drive? I said, yeah. He said, well, we're going to pull over tonight, but if you can drive the next 6 or 7 hours, that'd be handy. He never asked how old I was. I said, right, And I was driving up in Darwin for about 6 months, driving to Darwin down to Pine Creek. And no one asked if I had a licence. They said, can you drive a truck? I said, yep, sorta. After about 10 minutes, he said, yeah, you're good to go. Back and forth, hauling. No one asked. And it was irony. I've been driving for about, because you've got to be 17 to get a licence in Australia. I've been driving for 4 years. When I come back to my state, I got pulled over because I had a sedan. They said, oh, your licence? I said, no. And the cop lady said, well, go and get one. So that afternoon I went down and got my licence. I'd never had a licence.
Hammond said you're still a big bugger.
Yeah, I'm still a big bugger. The thing about tall people, they don't get any shorter. Well, maybe an inch or two as your spine compresses through age. No, that's, every time I used to go fishing with the guys, I did it for years and years and years. I'd just take a blanket and nuzzle my ass into the sand next to the fire, put my jacket, fold it up, there's my pillow. They would have tents, sleeping bags, mozzie spray. What size are you? I think my pants are 2X or 1X or something. What are my pants?
Yeah, 2X.
2X? And my shirts, well,
XL.
yeah, 4 or 5, because I've got What a big chest. I mean, check out them little bazookas. All right.
Usually,
Yeah.
usually 4XL shirt and 2XL shorts, and he prefers elastic in the shorts because he's old.
Oh, I've got pants. I can dress up like I'm in corporate. I just don't like to. I wore suits for years at one stage.
He's always got to get the long leg pants.
Yes, I would certainly still go down the beach, light a fire and take a blanket. Muggins over here would say, yeah, sure, just in the morning come to the 5-star hotel and wake me when you've caught a fish.
Yeah, I'll be looking out I'll be sitting on the
Not really adventurous when it comes
veranda, looking at you
roughing it a bit.
sleeping down on the beach. While I'm sipping my wine and eating crackers.
Yep.
And the wind's blowing the sand all over you.
Wouldn't bother me. Not enough people get out. I mean, as you can tell, we like being outside. Even when this place is finished, we'll be on the back patio, or down where the shed is that I'm converting into a barbecue area. Oh, I don't even. Age is like the only thing I notice with my body is it doesn't work as good as it used to. But age is just a number. Hello, Carolyn. I mean, I don't even think like we've been doing a heap of work, lifting, moving stuff, and it's just because stuff needs to get done.
Yep.
It's not like, oh, I'm over 60, so I shouldn't be doing it. I just do it.
Are you over 60?
Apparently.
You lied.
Wow.
Oh, no, you're 1859.
Now, how old are you? Just
don't
take
know.
your shoes and socks off for this.
do.
Hang on, it'll be a while.
How old am I? I'm 3 years younger than you.
Yeah.
So I'm 57.
58 this year.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of the
2
year.
years to 60.
You're 61 this year.
Geez, that's old.
It's not old. I don't feel that old.
I think if you have no purpose in life, you don't have to be old, but I think you don't have a life. It's not as if even the person that's housebound can't find interest. You can.
Yeah, that's true. That's who's 50, who cares?
Might sound silly. I played sport up until I was about 44. Fairly high level of sport. And I was still good. The thing that made me retire from sport was I would have kids that I'd coached as little toddlers coming out, like in cricket, coming out to bat and saying Mister all the time. Thank you, Mister. Thank you. And I think, I shouldn't be here. Yeah, a good porpoise is a good thing. As long as you're not trying to catch tuna and you end up with porpoise in your sandwich. Put you down just for a sec and we will roll another ciggy. Let's keep an eye on the princess for a while. There you go.
Get the battery charger. We haven't even had dinner tonight.
No,
Hey, Jojo.
maybe we'll go for the cheese and crackers. We've got
No.
fruit. Oh, I've got grapes, haven't I?
Yeah.
Grapes, cheese, a few pickles, crackers. Sounds good.
What's the difference between me and a calendar? A calendar has dates.
I've written to YouTube, Jojo, your account will be cancelled unless you actually do a couple of comedic routines, because, you know, I've told them that you just tease people and you allure to doing things but don't. And they said, no, you're right, Seeds. Yeah, Jojo will probably have to go. We'll give you another month, they said, which is fair enough.
Thanks. Oh, I thought you were talking to me. Damn.
Yep, I'll be copying all these and pasting these and emailing them to YouTube, Jojo. So look, so you can do it. He just doesn't. Fair enough, they'll say. Alas, there goes Jojo. And then you'll have to buy a B-class van and become a beast and rant at people without telling jokes. Yeah. Front camera. No one's ever single. It's true. There are no single people on the planet. Whether you call a relationship someone who you tuck under the blankets with you, or someone that you laugh and chat to and have interests with, no one's alone. I want to have VMAX. Party went yesterday.
Oh, it's just a party. There was no tobogganing.
Well, they weren't going to go tobogganing in the snow when it rained.
No. I have to go and put my phone on the charger.
Yeah, but the word mate in Australia doesn't mean partner. It means someone that you care about. A good mate. Friend, I suppose some people call in different parts of the world.
You're going to watch me climb up the stairs.
Yeah, here we go. It's like a mountain goat climbing up a hill. And some people do have the ability to be alone and not lonely because they're comfortable in their own skin with what they do. They might paint, draw, sculpt, or just go down the beach and watch seagulls. That means they're comfortable with their life. I'm copy and pasting that one too, Jojo. None of this is getting by me, all right? You're derelict in your duties. Do you like the old oak chair we picked up? Looks a lot better now that I've sanded most of it. And I've got some repairs, did a bit of mechanical repair on it, but oak just feels cool. If anyone's ever worked with wood, they know what I'm talking about. Yeah, even with us, I'll have things that I do, and the wife has things that she does, and we don't cross over. That's what I do and she does. But we have things we do together. But she's a good mate. We could nickname Jojo King Craw Clab on Big Craw. How you got a big craw? How'd that happen? Mr. Jojo had a big craw. How much it exercise? There's nothing wrong with that. Palm Sunday. Boom, boom. You stole most of these jokes off Bob Hope. Time to go to bed soon.
I haven't got my phone on me now, so you're going to have to watch how long you've been on.
It's about 50 minutes, so we'll go another couple. Hello, Mel. Still listening? Waiting. Are you waiting just outside?
Where are you waiting, Mel?
Most of us sneak just outside of the airport and then just go for pickup.
I haven't got my phone on me. So
Fueling
can't
up.
read. Oh.
Yeah, most of the time. Actually, it's easier just to tell people to Uber. You know, we're only $15 ride to the airport.
We are, yeah.
So people come and say, can you pick me up? I said, no, I'll Uber you a ride. It's about the same price of fuel there and back. There's a new one in Perth now called Gday. I don't know much about that. When I used to go to the airport from Mandurah, a lady used to do like the mining run.
It was called
Mining on time or something.
On time.
It was like $50. cheap. Don't have to pay for parking. That's the biggest killer at our airports. It's not that bad here. In Sydney, if you park for 1 minute, it's $25 and $50 an hour, and they tow vehicles that are there too long. I know if you're too long and you put your ticket in the machine saying, okay, I'll pay my bill, they say, please go to blah 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 yard, your car was towed. The initial fee is $500 and then there's a per day fee. They're pretty nasty at our airports. In Sydney, when we lived in Richmond, just the tolls alone to get to the airport were over 50 and over 50 to come back out, 50 to park. It was about a $200 trip just to go to the airport and back. All right, people, we're gonna go to bed.
Yep, because
Mel, drive carefully.
Yep.
Hammers, keep warm. Buttercup,
keep warm.
how about you do a cooking video? Go on. I challenge you to make a pie.
What's that say?
I'm going to change my
I see,
feed name
Jojo.
to Benefits. Now, when someone adds me on Facebook, I will say, you are now friends with Benefits. Boom, boom. Hi guys, have a good day for starting it. And Mel, like I say, drive carefully. See you later.